Secretary Treasurer. Jonathan Poway, Committeeman number 1.
Here.
Sonia Nevaquaya, Committeeman number 2. Harry Mythalo, Committeeman number 3. Clyde Narcomi, Committeeman number 4.
Here.
Unfortunately, there's only 3 of us here today. We cannot conduct official business without a quorum. Quorum consists of 5 CBC members, and as you can see, there's only 3 of us here, unfortunately. Once again, we're not able to do some things that really need to be done. Once again, we're leaving children off of our enrollment for almost 3 months now. Once again, we're not able to finalize the audit, the forensic audit that we have diligently been trying to get through. There's several resolutions on this agenda today, and some of them are very important. Our police chief needs a resolution passed. That's not going to get done. We were going to finalize removing the chairman's signature from writing any checks or writing any contracts without CBC approval. That's not going to get done. So all I can do is apologize to you Comanche tribal members for coming out and braving this weather and not being able to have a meeting today. I apologize to each and every one of you for that. Also, we were going to be addressing a recall petition today on Chairman Coffey. That won't get done either. We were going to take possibly some actions today against one of our workers that possibly needed to be done, and that's not going to be done either. So it's just not a good day today for the Comanche people because we're just not getting business done. And I don't know how much longer we can continue to go on like this because we're jeopardizing a lot of our programs. We're jeopardizing our children. We can't move on with business, and for whatever reason, people are dead set against this forensic audit. So all I can do is apologize to you for your time. Have a few questions. We're going to go ahead and have, like we did the last time they didn't show up, just kind of an open forum. If you have questions you'd like to ask, we'll do our best to answer them. And there is a meal that's been prepared. I hate to see it go to waste because Papa Joe makes the best pork chops. And we will be having a meal if you'd like to stay around. So. Yes, I see.
According to the Comanche Nation Constitution, the supreme governing body is each enrolled Comanche Nation member. We are the boss. We elected 7 people. This is 2 months in a row, 3 people that we elected showed up. I am requesting you, Vice Chairwoman Cothran, could you please call for a special general counsel for us to proceed with the forensic audit, and if they miss one more meeting, to proceed with nominations for 4 seats that are vacant. Because this cannot continue on. I have kinfolk here. We all have kinfolks here. Bottom line, we're all Comanche. That's what we are, real people. She's in a land situation of an elder that needs to be heard, needs to be acted on. We've got people here that have special requests. We have businesses that have special requests. We have the enrollment situation that has to be handled every month. We can't continue another 30 days, and I'm calling upon you 3 to act and call upon the boss, the supreme governing body, to vote on issues that are at hand. Thank you.
Thank you.
I thought y'all did that last month. Yeah. I thought y'all wrote a letter to him requesting to call a general counsel.
We did.
Well, he's required then to call that after he
Yes, and we will.
receives that.
Well, I can't wrestle him down to the ground and make him do it, but we
know,
will
but-
go to the BIA
Yeah.
Monday. We will
That-
go to the
that should be
BIA
the next
Monday.
step.
Yes.
If he refuses, I mean, he's got that letter.
Yes.
He requested it, and he had 30 days to call it, and if he refuses to call it, the Constitution says that the Bureau will call it. So
would
that's
hope.
already in the works.
Yeah, you're right. That's what we intend to do. We had to see what was going to happen today.
Yeah.
So,
So what about Mr. McBride? He's been here, he came last month when they
Yeah.
didn't show up. Do you have any answers for us? Do you have anything to tell us that we can
It's working.
know what's happening?
I don't know anything. I'm your
He's
legal
just
advisor.
here because he's just here because he bills
You
us
can't,
for
you
it.
can't tell us what recourse we have?
I don't understand your question.
What recourse do we have if our other members of the CBC refuse to attend? They deliberately boycott this meeting and put us in a bind? What recourse do we have? You're our attorney.
He works for
Well,
Wallace.
the recall provisions that citizens can pursue.
Oh, never mind.
Also, the employees, I think it's not up to the chairman or CBC to fire an employee. I think the acting tribal administrator, if he has enough, evidence to get rid of somebody that's disrupting the whole administration up here on the Hill, then I think he needs to get rid of them. Because the enrollment department is the lifeblood of our Comanche Nation. If that person's not doing her job in the enrollment, then she needs to be gotten rid of. I saw the petition against Susan. That petition had several, it should have had red marks all over it, but it had no red marks and it went through. People were signing that petition with their first name, initial, and the middle name, and then the next line, the first name and no initial, and it was just all messed up. So, and then it gets passed. That should be something you should look into, Mr. McBride. You're supposed to be working for us. You're not working for the chairman.
Yes, he is.
You shouldn't be working for the chairman. You're
He's-
working for me, Mr. McBride.
He's conducting
Miss,
personal
Miss Vice
business for the
Chairwoman?
chairman.
Is it possible
Hang on.
the folks that did have all the requests that needed to be done this month, is it possible to take a roll call of these people, write it down, if the situation's not handled, for them to be put off? That's just not right. This is where you guys do business in a legal quorum. Anything out of a legal quorum is illegal.
that's right.
Our Constitution calls for no action can be taken unless a legal quorum is present
That's
and
right.
voted on. And I hope everybody today that has situational problems, Ms. Vice Chairwoman, I would ask you to go on ahead and delegate a secretary-treasurer position and have these requests known that they're here again, and that call upon another special business committee meeting so these people don't have to wait. How many months has it been, Cheryl? Anyway, 4 months. 4 months. So, and I know other people have situational problems. They need to be dealt with.
Yes. Gabby, he had his hand up first.
The CBC needs to look at the petition against Tassequah because the Amber Hedge does not have authority to approve validity of the petition. And also, she made an illogical decision in saying a holiday is not a holiday, and she called it a business day. So that bad decision, illogical decision needs to be overturned by the CBC, and only the CBC can validate a petition. If there's over 200 valid signatures on Tassequah's petition, then it's valid, because Amber and Coffee do not have authority to approve that petition. I just talked to the attorney about it, and he didn't know enough facts, So I told him to go talk to Amber. He wants more facts. That
Look
way
at
he
the
can
petition.
decide. Because he needs to represent us. And also we need to direct our attorney to assist the FBI in that federal criminal investigation.
He doesn't want to answer
That's what he
questions.
suggested.
That's why he left.
Yeah,
We
that's what he
hired
suggested
this
that
guy.
the CBC do
We
that.
hired him, and he's leaving. What the hell?
You don't belong here anyway. Idiot.
Well, he showed up so he doesn't get paid, so that's why he showed up.
That's the only reason.
I just
he
want to
showed
let
up.
everyone know, and I hope everyone realizes it, that you have Chairman Coffey, you have Sonia Nabakoya, Jerry Tashqua, and Harry Mithilo. We all voted them in, but this is the third month in a row that they have abandoned us, the people. They're only in office to serve their best interests, and everyone should see that now. That these three business committee right here are looking out for our best interests. Not Chairman Coffey, not Nabakoya, not Tashqua, not Mithilo. So you guys remember that come April, or whenever you see them again, feel free to question them. Why didn't you show up? We voted for you. And they don't want to answer your questions. They'll hide. Chairman Coffey will hide. He'll park his car in the back and he'll hide from all of us. And he'll come in when he wants. You know, that's the people that we're dealing with. This is the leadership that we're under. That's why we need to go ahead and push that recall on Chairman Coffey and get moving in the right direction as a people. So I hope you guys understand that, you know, and we move forward. And thank you guys for showing up.
And also, there's something on the internet about some of the kids not being able to graduate because they don't have enough credits. The foreign language wasn't approved, and it all falls back on Tashqua and the chairman for not doing the paperwork that they were supposed to do. So now these kids that need to graduate using that foreign language are not going to be able to graduate. So
We have that resolution here, and it was signed by Chairman and by Vice or Secretary Treasurer. We will be forwarding that on to the State Department of Education. It's been signed, so we're going to take care of that.
This is what I don't understand. What does SEVA do? She's his executive secretary. If she let this sit on his desk all that time, just like they did with the Medicine Bluff issue, it didn't have to go to court. If those girls in that office would have done their job and handed the mail and did the paperwork with the chairman, but none of them opened the mail, or what does she do?
I'm not here every day. I can't tell you what they do. I don't know. I don't know. Would you like to address anything about that education letter, or since that directly involved you?
Sure. We worked many nights, many weeks, all summer long, since before the summer. And we have minutes from our meetings, and there was a group of us, the language committee, that we worked to get the criteria for certifying teachers. Anyone that wants to become a teacher, in the state of Oklahoma and want to teach in the high schools or colleges, has to be certified as a Comanche language teacher by a department or entity of that tribe. There's no more just taking people's word for it. So what we did was set down some guidelines on how much knowledge each level of teacher would have to have. For a beginner teacher that teaches Comanche 1, they just have to have proficient use of the language and know the alphabet, and to be able to teach it, not every speaker can be a teacher. Just like not every, the example I use, we had an All-American football player that was coaching at Cash, and the lineman, we had one of the worst lines in the Southwest Oklahoma, but even though the line coach was an All-American in college. So not every person that has the knowledge is able to pass it on. Teaching, it takes a lot of patience as well, and you just have to work with the kids, and so that's just the step one. And then the step two, we just progressed up as to become a college professor, and we had all of that in a packet ready to go to the state, and somehow Jerry and the Secretary Treasurer and Chairman Wallace Coffey called that lady from the State Department of Education to a meeting at the Tax Commission, and they took all the information from the Language Committee, and they just sat on it, basically, and they've had it all this time since, and that was in July, I believe, at the Tax Commission meeting. So there was plenty of time to get it turned in so the students could receive credit in the schools. And it's an alternate for a lot of our native students that don't want to take Spanish or don't want to take any other foreign language. They would like to take Comanche language and learn their culture. And in the years I've been teaching it, I've seen a lot of changes. A lot of changes in the students, how much they appreciate their culture more just by learning the language. As I've told people over and over, how strong the spirit is in our language. And it has a really strong spirit, and the kids learn to respect their elders more and respect their family and their selves. I've had parents come up to me and tell me, "What are you doing to our children in your class?" Because they're they're helping out more at the house. They don't talk back like they used to, and it's just a really good thing. The spirit is alive, and so I would really like to see Comanche language taught in every school in our area. Geronimo, Walters, Fletcher, Sterling, Indiana, Surreal, Apache, all these, Temple, all these schools that have Comanches going to school there. I'm sure they would love to learn Comanche. But with them sitting on it, it's just holding up the process.
We're taking care of that.
We're going to take care of that and send it on in, because we still have everything to send in. We was just looking for this resolution, and so we're going to get it sent in and get some teachers qualified to teach at them schools. Even some of my ex-students talked about teaching at Geronimo or something while they're going to Cameron. It was a part-time job, and that would be really good. Or even teach at Indiana.
Well, you mean instructors that teach native languages going to be recognized by the state as certified teachers?
Yes.
And that will make the kids, the students, their credit, when they attend it, their credits will be recognized?
Yes.
They can count towards their graduation?
Yes.
I think their credits are recognized now, aren't they?
They're an elective, but
they're still counted.
Yeah, they're counted as an elective, but they're not counted as a language. And even to get into college, you have to have a language in high school.
Right.
So it's hindering a lot of students. And it's just a simple process that should have taken place, but like I said, they're holding it up, and there's really no sense in they're just hurting our youth in our culture. I mean, that's what is really suffering from them doing this. So we're going to go ahead and send it on through and take care of that for our students that need this credit.
Any other questions? Anyone have any other comments?
Is there any way we could have our
Sorry, Jim.
interim TA give us a report? And the report I'm looking for on a personal basis is our college students, is everything okay? Our children, K through 12, is everything okay? Our funeral home, any situational problems there? Essential services, Mr. TA.
Yeah, sure, I can.
Are you prepared? Are you prepared?
Sure, I can respond.
Go for it.
Yeah. So basically, all of these programs are in compliance now, so we know where we are in our expenditures statewide fiscal year. So we've managed to clear up our former debt. Now we're in full operation, but we only have a percentage of the budget each month to report, so we are serving people. Yes, all those programs are doing very well, actually. So I keep my weekly tally of where they are to help them be in compliance. We've had a real positive impact on the employees. As far as the funeral home, we've had a tremendous amount of deaths this year. And unfortunately, with that funeral assistance, we haven't, because we've added so many people to the rolls that we now have to consider either increasing that or reallocating the amount of monies that we're presenting. So those are kind of the deficiencies we see there. The college currently, I'm not aware of what their semester has just begun. I haven't spoken with President Lonnie this week to see how things are going, so I can't give you an official report on that particular situation. But as far as the educational programs, in the past years we have overspent a tremendous amount of money. And so that's why we're here where we are today. But I can assure you that at this point, things are 1,000% better. And so we had a shortfall with our educational programs. And so, of course, there's all these issues within the system. Every program has issues. And I've met with every one of those program directors as well as their staff. And we are actually adjusting and fixing those discrepancies, because a lot of complaints end up on the tribal administrator's desk in a repeated manner. And the only way to address those is to talk to the employees and the directors themselves and to help them, not direct or demand, but work with them to fix those issues. And that's actually where we are today. So as far as our educational programs, we recently were able to complete those from the fall, and we're in the spring semester now, to fund those that got left out of the system because they either turned in their documents late or for whatever reason, got missed out. So everything is really moving much more efficient. Our tribal membership, of course, I haven't seen as much complaints about the help, because they realize that maybe this month social services, they're helping with gas, propane, electricity. Last month it was rent and other issues. So we're having to rotate. But the reality is we have X amount of dollars to spend, not an unlimited checkbook. Right. So, and they understand that. And these employees have needed help. They've needed help with someone that they can listen to, that will listen to them and respect them, but also hold them to be accountable. So when some of you guys mention employees, by name and criticize them, the reality is that within the system, sometimes it is not their fault. Sometimes they have directors or higher officials that give them directives that are completely outside of their role of authority. And what I have said to them is this: I'm your boss. This is my boss, the committee. And so if the committee comes to you and asks for something, before you act upon it, you talk to me so that I can say, yes, that is compliance, it is okay. Or I can say to you, no, you cannot do that, it's non-compliant, and you're going to end up in trouble. So actually, things are really, from where I sit, moving in a very positive manner. It's just that, right now, because of the tempo that's here, we're not able to complete some of those business transactions. So, yes, Mark?
Jimmy, What's your relationship with the CBC right now? Have you had any problems with any members of the CBC?
No, I haven't really had any problems. Actually, I've worked with all of them. I mean, you know, it's personality, of course, a lot of it. And even when I've had some that have approached me and said, you know, do this, do that, I have had to stand my ground and say, well, give me a resolution. You're a body of 7. If you will give me that resolution, I can act on it. But if I do some of the things that people expect of me, then why am I here? Go back to the old way, spin, 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 treat people with disrespect, you know, and that's not in my nature. I mean, I'm quite capable of addressing any situation in a respectful, civil manner, but I'm not going to, like, you know, argue back and forth without all the particulars. So, because I have been in the position of a director and employee of the nation, I understand both sides of the aisle. And so, immediately, I'm responsible for those employees. So the criticism you have for the employees, you should really bring to me so that I can address it with them and fix whatever deficiencies exist.
I do have one follow-up question. Sure. I hope the tribal council, everybody here that's an enrolled Comanche, they're going to be doing their outlook for 2017, which is called their budget hearings this next week. Now, not having a legal quorum of business committee, I would pray that you 3 elected officials do not go forward for 2017, but get the forensic audit done. Why? Our Constitution has called for an audit. We have not. My old coach, John David Wanee, brought it up in 2006. Where is the audits? Since 2005, it is 2016. 11 years, no audit on gaming. There's been audits on our mature federal funding, but no audit on gaming. Our Constitution is clear. An audit is to be provided to the Tribal Council 90 days before our annual meeting. This audit is to include all sources that we get revenue from. I would hope and pray that you guys do not put 2017 out there for people to come in here and say, I need this amount of money, when we don't even know how it was spent last year.
Is it 90 days like right now?
Yeah. February 1st, Bob.
I think it has to be published by the 28th, wasn't it, Jimmy?
Yes. And it hasn't been done in the last 4 years, on time.
Well, Bledsoe has done an audit.
Yeah, on federal mature contracts.
On
not
certain.
Our gaming, not our NUMA-FAMA.
Exactly.
Not any all revenue sources from every source.
Exactly, and that's what we have been
And
seeing.
that is not good for our people, because our Constitution is small, exact, precise, simple. Just follow it.
I don't think you have a problem with us following it. I think we're doing the best we can to follow it. Mr. Nelson?
When we have the general council and there's 400 or more people in the audience, we get the budget, we never have input as to what, you know, some of them are double, you know, there's duplicate programs that should be combined into something. But how does that list get so long and nobody ever has, I mean, I guess it's the departments that want their budget, like, say for instance, the transportation has gravel, roads, whatever, but whatever they put down under, it never corresponds to what they actually do. So when the budget goes out to all of these absentee people, all they do is vote yes because it looks good. But we don't even know what the heck that program's doing. I mean, they want all that money, but they're actually not doing what it says we think they were doing.
I can't answer that. This will be my first budget hearing. I think it's kind of ridiculous myself that we go into a budget hearing and we don't even have this information. Just got it today, thanks to Miss Ashley over here. But we don't see these directors or anything prior to this next week's budget meeting. So they're going to come in there and present something to us in 20 minutes. That's how it's staggered out, 20 minutes. And I don't think that's a good way to do it myself, but this is my first one, so I've got to experience it first and then see what kind of maybe changes we can do or how to fine tune it a little better or whatever. I can't answer that question right now.
Especially like Mr. Nelson made reference to, without an audit. I mean, like Beverly's saying, we don't even know what they've done this past year or the year before that. So how can we give them more money for next year?
I'm sorry, Mr. Poway, you've been on this committee for how long, sir?
This is my 3rd year.
Mr. Narcomi? How long have you been on the?
How long you been on the committee?
Could be. Year and a half.
And the question to you, gentlemen, I'm not putting you on the spot. Were you left out of the loop on budget hearings last year?
Yes.
There's the answer.
See, on these line items, you got about, what, 50 or 60 different line items?
A lot of them.
Like Beverly said, what do we know? What do they do with them? How do we know what they're doing with what they say they're going to do? Well, actually, it's not the director's fault, because the TA we had for the past 5 years was getting money out of each of them accounts, each of them line items, to help support this white man right here, Jake Sharp, and whoever else is in on the deal. It's just the way we've been told. So what everybody's been approving when they vote yes on it, we're approving. Well, he's not here no more, which I hope he don't come back for several years. But that's what we've been approving. Money for them to congregate out of them line items. A lot of them line items, they don't go to what it's supposed to be for.
Right.
More than half of it is pulled out. Well, only 2 people can pull money from the line items, programs, and that was the TA and the chairman. Us 3 of these 4 that's absent, we can't do we can't do that. The chairman and the TA does that. So be careful what you vote on.
Yeah, I think that one of the things that they fail to do when it comes to the budget hearings is let the people hear or have a say in what that money is going to be spent on. Yeah. They don't go out to the communities to ask us, well, what do you think about this program, or what do you think about that program? Because some of these programs don't work the way they're supposed to. And we all complain, but nothing happens. And so they keep continuing to spend that money over and over, and their budgets seem to get bigger and bigger every year, but those programs don't function well. They don't serve the people the way they should be. And we as voters should know in advance. We should have some say of what y'all are intending to propose in that budget. And so I think that y'all need to have community meetings and let us talk about it. Let us say what is working and what is not working. And also too, that, what do they call it, that indirect cost? Why in the world are we charging our programs indirect cost, which is right now how much? How much?
17.85%.
That's almost that's 20%, almost 20% of a program's budget that is just automatically taken. Instead of going to direct services, why would we charge our programs that indirect cost when we're not a federal program? We're not federal funded. It's not federal funding. It's not federal funding, but they've taken that indirect cost and used it for nothing but a slush fund. Why should we give them more money to stick in their pockets when it should go to the services directly to the people? So I feel like that indirect cost is totally unnecessary.
To follow up on Eleanor's question, we have former TA Pica. At one time, Mr. Pica, we voted on complex operations. Or, I believe that's what it was called. So, Gene, did that work out better than indirect cost for the people to vote on a sum?
Well, there's a cost to, and that's why they call it indirect. You know, the cost of the maintenance and whatever we have that you can't account for that one program. That's basically indirect cost. And there is a certain amount that needs to be done for indirect costs, but it doesn't have to be 17%. And if you do grants, when you write grants, they'll ask, what is your indirect cost rate? You know, are your audits up to date? Are you on high risk? And these things.
All three are yes.
When I worked for the University of Oklahoma, their indirect cost rate was 47%, 44%. So what we did is we provided justification, asked the president and the provost to consider maybe 15% or 12%, a fair amount for what's done for that program. Therefore, it's legal, but the big thing is you should have an indirect cost budget. You have to justify from the administrative point of view that we need these many people. You just don't keep throwing people into the administrative area without knowing what it's going to do to affect that budget and indirect costs. So all these things can be good, but it's never been managed properly.
Right.
Well,
very true.
One of the things about our revenue allocation plan is that it's called tribal operations. 10% of that is supposed to go to tribal operations, but when you look at it on our annual budget, what do they have under tribal operations? Is it law enforcement? There's things on there that isn't being used to pay for tribal operations. There's all kinds of things being used, that money's being used for rather than tribal operations. And to me, when you have 10% of our total budget for tribal operations, that should be what it costs to operate this place. And why should we, double charge our programs with the indirect costs when you've already got 10% of our total budget for tribal operations? That doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
That's a good point.
Good question.
Gabby?
Okay. I worked all night and I was typing out recommendations for the FY17 budget, and I run out of ink. And anyway, I had it printed in last year's newspaper, March the 15th. So if you look at that old newspaper, where there's a list of recommendations for FY16. So I took that and I updated it. And I put as much stuff in there as I could. Like Conai, they're supposed to have a bunch of contracts and they don't contribute a penny. And we paid them $8.5 million or something. And the college, we've given them $20 million. Almost $20 million. And we have 11 Comanche graduates. And we don't have a nursing program. It ended in, I think, 2011 because of some trouble with waiving the Comanche language requirement. And they couldn't graduate. So they never did resolve that. And the turnover is real bad over there, the staff and the president. So I don't know what they keep telling us we're going to get accredited. We've been waiting since 2007. Anyway, and the museum, I put the museum in there with, I think we paid them $8.5 or $9. I mean, these are obscene figures for the million for the museum, and we don't own the building, and it's just money in the trash can. We're helping the City of Lawton's tourist market, and the City of Lawton profiles us. And, we just need to have a bare minimum if we want to keep it going. 2 people can run it. Like Southern Plains Museum, they got 2 people up there. Everything. There's let me see, I think tax commission, you know, the smoke shop, you know, they don't, it's just a big slush fund. You know, we need to get rid of that board. The hospice building, it's still a hospice building. How much money have we budgeted for the nursing home? You know, and we spent $2.5 million the past 2 years on operations. Boy, that's a lot of money. Our realty department, we don't have no buyback, co-bail program. They've been, 2014 reports in there, shuffling papers to participate. Anyway, we're still waiting. 2016, we'll be waiting again. We need to hire somebody that knows what they're doing in that realty department. You know, there's just so much corruption. Oh. But anyway, I'm gonna update, I'm gonna finish it, and I'm gonna give it to Stacy so she can put it in the Comanche newspaper. Stacy Himanoki and JJ Himanoki, anyway, let them put it in there so that people can read it and they can, you know what to vote for or have an idea of what's going on. And you know, we've got slush funds all over the place. And like the indirect costs you're talking about, we need to update those job descriptions, you know, require education and experience and re-advertise. I mean, we never did advertise. We need to advertise, and our personnel department needs to function. That personnel department don't function. They don't advertise. Well, I don't know how long. We've been in the dark ages. We need to get out of the dark ages. You know, how much can we take? There's no, everything's secret. There's no transparency. You know, no reports. Conan never gives us reports, you know. I can go on and on. The buck and bull business, you know, how much have we paid them? You know.
That's why that forensic audit is so important.
There's so
I hope y'all see that. I mean, all these things y'all are talking about will be transparent when we have the forensic audit.
And I'm gonna, anyway, that way I'm gonna start handing them handouts Monday, you know, when I get a cop, when I get ink, then everybody will have it.
Thank you.
Because everybody needs to see what's going on.
Mr. Pika?
Right, sir, can you give me an idea of how you went about looking for this auditor? And do you feel like you have an auditor that can do the job we need?
Oh, yes.
Because not everything is under Finley and Cook. You can audit those things because that's the way it's set up.
Yes.
The documents and everything. It's those programs and monies and accounts that may be set up outside Finley and Cook that has to be audited.
Yes.
So can this group
This is a
do
top-notch
all of
company.
that we can find truly what's happened with our money?
Yes, Mr. Pika, I have every confidence in this company. They're an A company. They're not a D company or a C company. I only went after A's after a lot of research and a lot of my time, my expense, and my own time that I spent talking to different attorneys and things, picking their brain, talking to different companies. You can get on the internet and find out an awful lot about companies too and what they've done. And in visiting with these people, we had an open bid process. A bidding process went out based upon property and procurement guidelines. And I had a meeting. I texted every CBC member, told them we were going to be meeting a specific day and we would open bids that day. And we're the only 3 that showed up. So we went on ahead and opened the bids, and we do have a company. We've got everything right here. I feel very confident that they can get the job done. I have no qualms about it at all.
Yeah.
Excuse
Because
me,
And they know
as tribal
about
members, we want to know that these programs are being evaluated.
yes.
Okay, that the programs that we have are properly staffed. That, you know,
Well, if anything, I'd say we're overstaffed.
Well,
We're never understaffed. You can rest assured we're overstaffed.
And we just want to know what happened to our money, and we don't want this to happen again.
Yes,
We're
and that's
talking
the whole
about
point of
millions
doing this.
And millions of dollars.
Exactly.
And we want to see results.
Well, I think you
And
can.
everybody wants 60% per cap. If the programs are not working the way they are, maybe they should get that.
Exactly. I agree with you.
And so until our programs are properly evaluated,
Yes.
people are evaluated before they get a raise, those type of things. Because once you give a cost of living increase, that's forever. A bonus maybe for that year, but it's not forever like a cost of living.
Well, I'm not opposed to 60% per cap by a long shot. I think it's
I'm
a
all
great
for it.
idea because we can't evidently trust the people that we put in office to take care of our money. And I would much rather see our Comanche dollars go to our Comanche people than to certain people and their pockets.
And when I was a tribal administrator, we had budget meetings, and the public was welcome to come and listen to those programs and what their plans were. So those that came and took the time to listen to the director's reports, they gained a lot of knowledge that they could use when it come time to vote for those programs.
Well, I was hoping we could have gotten through this in a decent amount of time, and I would have liked to have had a meeting a good 30 days, 45 days before the general council and discuss this with the people.
Communities,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Susan?
we're on a time crunch and there's not much we could do about it. Yes.
My question is, so after this forensic audit, hopefully it does take place, what happens after we find all the evidence? What happens when we uncover whatever it is that we do uncover? What is the next step after that?
Well,
What happens? I mean, we can have all the evidence in the world and see where all the, the misspending is, but what happens? Do they, it's okay, well, we know so-and-so got this amount, we know this department spent this
depending
over here.
on the severity or whatever happens, it will be turned over to the Attorney General. And it'll be up to us to follow through with the prosecution.
Burton, since you have a contract under Department of Justice,
Yes,
does it go under your guys?
yes.
And will it be followed through?
No,
And will it not be politicized?
no.
He's not gonna do that.
It's a criminal matter.
All right, it's on record.
Misappropriations of funds could be in two categories. Anything that's intentional falls underneath the criminal side and can be prosecuted. And we have seen directors prosecuted, within the Comanche Nation, and, they've received sentencing and such. Now, there are some times when it's procedural. They found the loophole, our policy wasn't clear on that matter. We've had dismissals on those type of situations. And, it just depends on where it comes in. If it's a criminal, it's intentional, knowingly, yes, they can be prosecuted.
Will you work hand in hand with the Western District Prosecuting Attorney Stanford Coates?
Well, Stanford resigned.
Okay,
However,
his interim.
However, we have an ongoing investigation with the FBI and Western District of Oklahoma's office as we speak.
That's outside of the forensic audit.
That's correct.
I have one last question, I gotta go. How many directors are here with the Comanche Complex? Can you raise your hand? Can I ask you one question? Was there money taken out to rebuild the Star House? Yes or no?
We have money taken out for the cash project, but I don't know how
What
much.
they did with it.
It was for the casino.
It was 10%, I think, off of the budget.
Now, asking the CBC, did y'all do a legal quorum vote for that to happen?
I wasn't here at that time.
I have
It was
another
voted on at the
question,
tax
too.
commission. I can't remember exactly how the vote went down, but I, for one, voted no. I voted no, 10% taking out anything. I can't
Back
remember how
to,
Jonathan voted.
yes, sir.
or-
Back to our supreme governing body, we voted for an amount for our people. We didn't vote on remodeling the Star House.
Really?
That should have came back to the people. So dictatorships need to end. Follow the Constitution, I
Amen.
think we'll be all right.
Amen.
I think.
My question is, kind of a two-part. I'm interested in what happened when the Elders Council had a line item budget one year of $90,000, and that first year that we had to go through, we no longer can have our own bank account and decide how we spent the money that was voted by the people. And one year, when we went to Taos, they made us sign the federal government tax, perjured ourselves actually, because we had to sign that we got the $290 whatever in our hand. And and we never got it when we got on the bus. We never got that money. Where did that money go, number one? And when they made us, I actually declared that on my taxes because my tax person said I signed a fraudulent federal document saying that I had received money that I did not. And I'm still incensed about it because I think that that year, that first year, the Elders Council for their party, I think it was Christmas, they got the money at 11:30 the day of the party. We can't go down and like get green beans on sale at Sam's and put them in the storage until it's time for our party. We can't plan ahead. We don't get to decide, and what did they take, 17,000 off at the top? They were telling us Monday. But what happened? Who gave the authority to these different, for everything to go through Finley and Cook, and then we have to beg and plead for our money and maybe not get it at all? What happened when we couldn't have our own account and decide where we went and where we spent the money with our elected officials for the Elders Council? That's my question.
That can be rectified. That can be.
TA.
Gene Pickett knows it, and I know it. This for the Elders Council can be treated as a gift instead of a 1099. And Jimmy, it's a gift. Now, you are going to be taxed on $1,199, $1,199.99. How many have won a jackpot at a casino? They're going to give you a 1099, anything over $1,199.99. Now, for the Elders Council, that should be treated, and Jimmy, it's a gift annuity. That's all it is.
Or it could be passed through, like, you know, I used to go to church there all the time.
Right, like a tithe. Yes, ma'am.
And I wanted to support students in the church school.
Yes, it's like a tithe.
And I designated on my check, and those were passed through nonprofit that was not taxable.
And the Comanche Nation is a nonprofit organization, so.
And the elders can't take their money
Right.
because it puts them over assets.
There you go, yes.
It's because they're handling it as taxable gambling money.
You're right.
Instead of as pass-through.
And I would hope the CBC, ma'am, I'm not talking over you, I'm talking with you. I would hope the CBC understands what a gift annuity looks like, because our elders should not be taxed, those on a fixed income, on disability or Social Security. You can treat their gift of $1,000 as a gift annuity. And when they get their extra per cap,
taxable income.
right, when they get the extra per cap, if it's below $1,199.99, don't issue a 1099 unless that happens. A lot of elders are smart and will take that money out for their taxes, but a lot of us don't. So it's just get that knowledge. And Jimmy, I know you know this knowledge. Just get the minds to help our old folks out like that.
Okay, let's go back to that 60%.
I know. Wished it was all that easy.
November's meeting, I think, that we told our lawyer to go ahead and type up a letter and answer them 8 questions that we had to answer to resubmit for our 60%. So that was November. So here we are. We missed December. Now we missed January. So that 60% is in the middle. But we can't do nothing until he gets that letter ready and we answer them 8 questions and resubmit. Now, does anybody here, when they turned 18, here in the past 3 or 4 months, how much money your grandkids got by any chance?
About 13,000.
About 13,000. Okay. By these guys, these 3, the chairman and Jerry Tushqua and Sonia, by them not showing up last month, 34 new Comanches were supposed to have been added on. Mr. Pickett's here, his granddaughter or grandson was put on that list. So since we didn't do that, or that they didn't show up in order for us to do it, well, they don't get per cap for 2015.
Yeah, that's a fiscal year ago.
It'd be 2016. So, then 34 Comanches, at the time they turn 18, well, they could be that minus 13, 14, 50,000, ever what it is, you know. Just remember that. When it comes to recall, who's got recalls on them, remember whose fault that is. And today we're supposed to have 27 convention added on. Now let's go back to when I held up this piece of paper a while ago. I mentioned Jake Sharp. Back in September or October of last year at our tax commission meeting. Well, even before that, I brought up on 1315 Southwest Lee Boulevard, right there by that discount store. Y'all know where that is. There's a smoke shop there. It has a cheap smoke shop. It's got a big end in there with a headdress on, and it's got a wooden end standing in front, and over here it's got another wooden end, not a wooden end, but a end with a headdress on. April of last year, or May, well, we wrote a letter to the tax commission for them to do something about that discrimination within the chief's headdresses up there. So finally, from last May or June of last year, we finally got a deal here that our lawyer sent to Jake Sharp. I'll just read this one paragraph for you guys. This was sent out December the 30th, 2015. Regarding the removal of the large wooden Indian statue in front of your door, I told you that the business committee had requested its removal by the first week of January. You told me that you would consider removing the Indian, which you criticized as a gift from a Comanche tribal citizen, and even stop using the Indian-themed trade dress for your business if the nation would buy you out. Let me know if you plan to remove the wooden Indian. Thank you again for your consideration. This is what our lawyer wrote to Jake Sharp. So he said as of today, he hasn't got no response from it. So
who owns that smoke shop on Cash Road? He says Comanche Tobacco Smoke Shop.
I don't know who owns
yeah, it's right there across from Wendy's. It's a house.
Out.
It's got Comanche name on it.
I know the tribe itself owns four smoke shops. The other ones are individually owned. I can tell you that much. I never have seen that one on Cash Road.
Yeah, if you go down Cash Road, it's right across the street from Wendy's and that big liquor store.
Is it new?
It's probably been there about a year or so. Well, why they using Comanche? Yeah, they use a Comanche name.
Well, check into it. It's the first time I ever heard of it.
Yeah, you go down Cash Road, you see it. Well, he shouldn't even use that name Comanche.
No, that's something we'll check into that. I didn't see it. It's on Cash Road across from Wendy's. Is that what he said?
Yeah.
So that dummy Indian statue is still there?
Still there.
Okay. Willie Nelson mentioned the kickback house. That's what most of the Comanches that know about it, it's a kickback house. Okay, I heard that they started a 503 I wish I got a copy of it. I'll hand it out to everybody. I like to give everybody information. I don't like to go by rumors. But I heard that on that board, Dennis Wimmelbury was on that board, and also that Gibson, the guy who owns it, the guy who's going to benefit from, I guess they're trying to get people to give them money to renovate that. And then the check signers I heard was Coffee, Tossequa, and Owens. And this person, anyway, somebody sent them a check, and I said, well, maybe they just give it to Owens, that check. But anyway, that kickback house, it's got foundation structural damage or what. It's been gutted out in '57, a fire, and it needs a new porch and roof and walls and and it looks like we're supporting it. I think we need a CBC resolution to say we got no part of that, that kickback house, because it looks bad on the tribe. It just, it don't look right. That we don't own it. you know, and,
Dennis, you got
and
anything?
people,
You say about it? Let's ask Dennis,
yeah, ask
I just know
him.
they had a board.
Yeah. How much money have they got so far? We spent 15,000 to ask them up to say
Let
that
him
it's
talk, let him
not
talk.
worth fixing.
Go ahead,
I
Mr.
don't know,
Woodley.
I don't know what he's talking about a kickback board, but I was put on a board to start a fund so that we could collect money from entities who's willing to donate for the renovation of that building, for the Star House. And I don't know how much kickback we're supposed to get, but I haven't got any yet. But the board itself was established so that these entities would be able to have a place to put money. And that really hasn't materialized, as far as I know of, to this date, because they needed it to go to some sort of a 301c3 organization. And so in establishing that, and I understand that we finally established one, and that's when nothing else has really materialized in terms of gathering some entities to donate to that fund. But as far as what he's talking about, I don't know. But that's the board I was put on. So.
But it's Owens and the chairman
The
on
chairman,
check signing?
Will Owens, and myself, and then Wayne Gibson was the board. And Wayne Gibson was put on it because he's the owner of the property.
Has there been a checking account set up for that?
Yes, there has.
Where's it at?
At the Liberty National Bank.
Are all of y'all on it?
I'm not a check signer, no.
Okay.
I know that Will and the chairman was because they were check signers on the other tribal entity funds, but I'm not.
As far as you know, Will is still on there?
As far as I know, I mean, I think it would take a resolution to take him off, but I don't know.
How's that group set up? I mean, what's it called? What are y'all called?
You know, I'm not even sure of the official name of it, but we can find that out. I was just told that I was going to be on that board, and I said, okay. So.
Okay.
Could you let either TA know?
I will.
How much money do they have?
Okay, Jimmy?
Yeah, actually, I can talk to that. It's true, Dennis is one of those on that board, and so is Lane Gibson. But we have no kind of access to any of the checking abilities, check signature, or anything. And that is one of the many resolutions and bank accounts that you as a CBC have to remove those signatories and address those deficiencies. It is some of the things that I have been bringing forward to you guys that actually was in your packet before. So it's another one of those scenarios where we have people from way from the past even that are still on our checking accounts that have never been removed. So that's why we need to conduct our business addresses thing. So yes, Dennis has been named as a participant in that, and it's called Save the Star House. But, and it's true that that's an account at Liberty National Bank.
Is there any money in it?
I have no idea how much money's in it. Those signatories are true. I've talked to the Secretary Treasurer about that, as well as Finley and Cook, to try to figure out how to change that. And Leslie Early has worked with them on it. So it's actually one of the things that, you know, we are trying to resolve. But,
Jimmy, a good question. Is this a private project, or is this a project of the Comanche tribe?
Well, it's endorsed and supported by the Comanche tribe.
Right.
So I think there's a lot of kind of questions about it.
Is it by resolution from the CBC?
Yes.
Is there
Yes.
one?
The account is by resolution and the board is by resolution, so it was voted on by the CBC.
When?
Was this?
When was this done? Because I didn't vote on it.
It's been a couple of years ago.
Oh,
It's something that
okay.
surfaced on my desk that I'm trying to address.
We
A
need
lot
to
of things
repeal
that
that resolution.
Yes.
You can't without a legal quorum. Me and Nico, we used to deposit, what would we deposit? Maybe 10,000 bucks every week, 12,000, 15,000, didn't matter. Put it in a checking account. We had no access to it. We had access to it. That was it. Is that one closed?
That's from the water park?
Jimmy,
Or
do you know
Nations of
how
Fun?
many outside accounts we have?
Who knows?
I don't, because there's a lot of gatekeepers of the Comanche Nation, as you all know.
Gatekeepers.
So I'm busy just trying to, like, you know, work with all the programs and find out, those are some of the issues. But, you know, now that the employees actually have a little bit of confidence and support, and know that they're not going to just be fired, you know, just because I don't like them or whatever, and expected to be responsible, then they feel more confident about sharing what issues that they have been put into. I mean, you know, you would really be surprised at how many of these employees have been given directives in writing to do things that are very questionable that, you know, I personally would never put them in that position to be in. And of course, they fear for their jobs because, you know, they know that they've overspent and been told to do something. So it's, the whole thing is, you know, we're just in a state of chaos that we have to kind of try to resolve and move forward and clarify and highlight every one of those issues and bring forward. So
one other question regarding the over budgeting.
Yes.
And you know, are we still top heavy with employees? Are we ever going to trim, you know, the employees?
Well, of course, you know, once an employee is, like, you know, was told to do their job and being responsible, they'll either do it or they'll end up, you know, kind of moving themselves out of the system. But the programs that are top heaviest, I mean, in the sense that they have employees that aren't in the budget, the directors are having to be responsible for that and address that deficiency. So either the director has to move out or they have to figure out which employee that they can, you know, resolve that issue with. Because you can't spend what you don't have, it's that simple. So that's what I'm working on.
Yeah, because there's like that, what is that person, she got they created a position for her.
I think she's talking about the special events coordinator.
Yeah, that person, and she's getting paid big bucks.
No.
Well, she's one of them, but I think she's gone. But I'm talking about Donna Wani, that special projects manager. What do we need her for?
Well, here's what I know. I finally have gotten an indirect cost budget and an administration budget, which was two that I kind of struggled to get, but I finally got, because the question was, how can we approve these things if I don't know what budget is coming from or how much is in that line item? So it's been, you know, it's been a slow-moving process, but very effective and very positive. And so for those individual employees that I know everybody kind of, you know, asked those questions, you know, because the way they were hired and placed in the system, you know, they receive benefits and they have rights. And so I have to deal with those in a, you know, professional manner and kind of resolve how are we going to address these issues.
So it goes right back to the...
So I can't, you know, I understand, just like with the question about, you know, that Beverly, you know, in a respectful way, I have to resolve those in a fair process and try to come to some conclusions so that we can be in compliance, responsible financially. So it's just a challenge that we're slowly moving through, but very effectively.
Well, if the tribal council did not approve it, then that's a misappropriation. We approve every program. That's what we do by our vote. Now, I would hope this has to be asked today, guys. Thank you for being here. If they don't show up next month, what then?
That's 4.
It'd be 3 in a row.
I would hope that y'all can tell us today what is the action going to be. If they did not show up, this elder asked me, Willie, how much is it? And I said, I think it's 2.5, because we had a continuance of the November meeting. That has never been closed, because the prayer was said and everybody took off. Okay? So that's a continuance. Then you got December. Now it's January. So really a half meeting. If I was you guys, I'd not have a quorum for your gaming meeting. What's the point? Don't have a quorum.
Well, there's that general counsel request that's pending, right?
That's right.
There you go. Yep.
Maybe the general counsel can solve the problem.
I have a question for Jimmy. What are you working with the human resource department so they can start doing their job?
Absolutely.
In the past, everybody's been hired and they don't go through the human resource. I mean, it's not even advertised.
Right.
And also, I would like for you to do a drug test. Everybody in one day do it, because that would help you get rid of some people. If you can't get rid of them, they can go to rehab. You know, follow the steps that they used to take.
Right. We have started that. We have kind of re-implemented those processes.
I would like for it to start with the chairman.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have a problem with any of us CBCs doing
I
it.
got a question, and this is for
Don't have a
CBC and Mr. Otterberry. Is Jimmy going to have the authority to adjust the pay scale? Because as we know, it's all over the place with some employees making outrageous amounts with no education or no qualifications, and also making a provision where we say directors that are in positions that are not qualified for those positions, have them reapply for it and re-advertise so that we can have qualified professional people in there to get paid what they're making, or readjust the pay scale here at the complex, because that's part of the over budgeting right now. And as you know, your monthly payroll is over $1 million.
Mr. Herrera, I'd hate to put that on the back of an acting TA. I think you need to put it on the backs of the people. Let us vote on it.
I asked the CBC if Jimmy would have that authority, and can they work with him? That's my question.
Well, that's a work in progress. It doesn't happen overnight, Beliente. None of this is going to happen overnight.
Absolutely.
We've put a good person up here, and he's doing the best he possibly can.
Yes, he is.
With what he's got to work with. Personally, I think he's done a great job. He's doing everything. We don't come up here and bug him. I think I've seen you 3 times, Jimmy, in spite of what everyone says, that I'm out to fire all you people. Well, if you were going to be fired, you'd be gone if it was up to me. So that's not my deal. I'm not up here to tell nobody to get fired. And Mr. Otterberry can attest to that. I've told him not to fire anyone. I don't believe any of us have done that. I trust him to do his job. And I think he's doing a darn good job.
Isha. Mr. Gene Pekin in 2006, he had 150 employees, Gene?
Yeah.
I had 195. How many employees we have now?
More than 300.
Oh my God.
Why?
Mr. Otterberry didn't put them there, though. Those were put in place by somebody else.
You guys, it's very touchy because we all have relatives that work here. If you put it on the backs of our people, all of our people, you know what the absentees are going to say. We call there, we don't get no up at all. But put it to the people. Put a figure, an amount for services to our people. Give us a figure to vote on. Put it on us. And you know what it will be? Because the only ones that push a vote or any exercise of the tribe through is our absentees, our non-num that live abroad. They're the voters.
Vice Chairman Cotter,
yes.
I'd like to go back to what Willie was talking about. You're going to have a contingency plan if there's a no-show next month. You better start formulating it now, as Willie said.
Yeah, Mark.
Really, don't wait until it happens on that day.
Yeah.
Don't wait.
Yes.
Without threatening, overly threatening in a letter or something, you need to make it known publicly. If there's a no-show, you're going to forfeit your office per the Constitution.
They're in the works. There's something happening.
Yeah.
Susan?
Yeah. And we will be addressing that, Mr. Wadua. We will. Yes, ma'am.
Susan, just for my own, how I'm going to vote in April, because we all vote on the firm that's going to represent us. Did this attorney help you any with that, doing the forensic audit?
I wouldn't. No, I've never asked him to help. I don't feel like I would get the help I really need. I've gone outside the scope of him.
Because I don't trust him in that.
No.
If you walked out here and helping nobody.
That's a no-call, no-show right there.
I'm just trying to make a point so we know how we're going to vote.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. I mean, because it's being live, I believe. Is it being sent live? Just so we can know it's being sent live. Yeah.
Yes, it is. It is.
Yeah, on Beverly's drug test deal, believe it or not, we talked about that the past couple of weeks. And I think all the employees need to take the drug test. All the CBC needs to take the drug test. The way it was done before, Will Owens, the past TA, say for instance, if us three was here in the program, and these other guys was here, well, they would pick us three to go because they know we would pass it. That's where it was all down here on, at the complex.
Surprise them. And let them go.
Random's like the casino. That's what I did.
You shouldn't be able to deny taking the test.
And I suggested if they denied taking it, automatic termination.
Right.
That's policy and procedures.
Yep.
Don't feel sorry for nobody.
That's
I don't
right.
care if it's
You
my
know,
brother.
you're talking about these drug tests too, but I do know there was a credit card scam also. And Donna Wani was a major person in that credit card scam because her husband gave me 2 credit cards that she had, and he said that they spent it for personal stuff. He bought tires, he bought gas, he did all that, and she used these tribal phones to send pornography to her boyfriend. You know, so, and her husband gave that to me, gave me all of that, and I submitted it to law enforcement. But nothing's happened to that woman. And she also had a number of credit cards, and the investigator that was handling it got fired. So there's some serious credit card scams going on, and that needs to be looked into.
That's what a forensic
And
audit will find out.
I gave you a copy of that credit card, you know, and I wrote a statement, but I don't see, you know, Donna Wani should be the first people to be let go, but she's still
How long
here.
ago was this turned in, Eleanor?
How long ago? Year ago, year and a half ago?
About 18 months or so.
Yep.
I was turned in to see if our court on the case. They declined. They said our policy procedures wouldn't address it.
That's
because our policy procedures were so vague in that area.
Are you working with Arterberry? Because there was another case where y'all took to CFR court and they said that that person didn't have proper guidance from his supervisor. That's so stupid.
Which one was that?
That, I won't say the name, but.
What program?
What program? He worked the children's court at the time. Well, anyway, y'all went to court and he wasn't properly supervised, they said, so they threw it out.
In the packets, there is a resolution which allows us to take anything that the TA identifies as questionable or criminal to investigate. Prior to that, our hands were basically tied on what we could do, what we couldn't do.
That's one of the resolutions that's on this that will not be addressed today.
Or last month.
Or last month, so. It's almost noon. If we're done with questions, I'd like to ask Mr. Wadua to say a prayer for us, and there's been a meal prepared, we might as well partake it rather than waste it. So, Mark, would you please pray for us?
Repeat the Lord's Prayer with me. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us of our trespasses. We forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Thank you. Amen.
Thank you guys for staying over with us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate y'all.
Hello, Sal. Happy New Year
We're supposed to say that.
Reading some golfing?
Yeah, I am, man.
Oh, really?
My club is right there.
Mine's cleaned up, ready to go.